Welcome to your review on proportional relationships. We will be looking at equations, graphs, and tables. Let's start with our first question, where we're asked to write an equation. Don't peek at the answers, but focus on coming up with your own equation first. It says, bananas cost, please cut the question and take notes as I go through, 45 cents per pound. Which equation is used to find C, the total cost, and P, the pounds of bananas? So they're pretty specific about the variables they want us to use. When you think of a proportional equation, you should think of K times X equals Y. In this case, we know that the unit rate is 45 cents per 1 pound. So C cost is our top value, or in other words, our Y value. And P pounds is our X value. So when we go to write the equation, instead of using X and Y, make sure you're taking these notes down. For the Y, we're going to use C, total cost. And for the X, well, we're going to use P. And of course, our K rate and our unit rate are equivalent. So it can be written this way, or they may have written it this way. Now take a look at your choices. Clearly, it's not D and B. So as you look closely at A and C, it certainly is A. Let's write in another equation in number 2. It says the cost of oranges in a grocery store is directly proportional to the number of oranges purchased. Jerry paid $2.52 for 6 oranges. Let P be the cost in dollars, and let N be the number of oranges in the relationship. Which equation represents this relationship? Well, again, start with the basic equation. Take the ratio they've given you, which is not a unit rate, $2.52 per 6 oranges, and convert it to a unit rate. You need to take and divide 252 by 6 oranges and find out the cost per each orange. You should have gotten 42 cents per 1 orange, which is, of course, our K rate, 42 cents. Now we know typically Y is on top, cost in this case, X on the bottom, but we need to use the variables they've chosen. P is going to be the cost instead of Y, and N is going to be the number of oranges instead of X. So as we write this equation, we substitute a P for the Y, and for our X, we put in N. And of course, 42 cents is our K rate, our constant of proportionality. And remember, it could be written this way as you look for an answer. Well, as you scan your choices, it's pretty easy. It's clearly letter A. Let's move on to the next 2 questions. In each question, you're going to find the rate. In 3 and 4, you have to pay attention to what they want. For example, in number 3, they want miles per gallon. So as you read through, make sure you put miles on top and gallons on the bottom of your ratio. In number 4, they want the cups of water per the cup, a single cup of milk. But that tells you how they want the information. Water should certainly be your Y value, and milk should certainly be your X value. You can pause the video and complete these 2 problems, and then turn the video back on and continue on to the next page. We will check your answers at the end of class. So complete 3 and 4 on your own. When you're ready, let's move on to the next page. Pause your video and turn it back on when you're ready. Let's take a look at this word problem. Last week, Len spent $18 to bowl 4 games. This week, he spent $27 to bowl 6 games. Len owns his own bowling ball and shoes, so he only has to pay for each game that he plays or he bowls. He spends the same amount. What is the constant of proportionality between the money spent and the number of games played? So money will go on top and the number of games on the bottom. In other words, our Y is the cost, our X is the number of games. And we're looking for the K rate. Well, let's set up a couple of ratios. Put $18 over 4 games and $27 divided by 6 games. Take a moment and divide and check and see what your K rate is. Make sure you're copying down all the work. For each, you should have gotten 4.5. That's your constant of proportionality, or your K rate. Complete number 10 on your own when you have a chance. Pause the video so you can complete it, and turn it back on when you're ready to complete number 11. Number 11. The graph shows the relationship between the number of people in a group and the total cost of admission tickets for the circus. Clearly, it's proportional because it starts at 0, 0, and it's a straight line. X is the number of people. Y represents the cost in dollars. Which point on the graph represents the unit rate? Well, the minute you get a graph, you should make a T-table. People and cost in dollars. We're going to pull a few points off. My first point is right here, 115. One person pays $15. I can stop right there because I can see that that is the unit rate. If we put Y over X, or $15 over one person, we can see that this is the unit rate. As an ordered pair, it's X, Y. In this case, the X must be 1. Clearly it is. And the Y is 15. So that is our unit rate, right there, written as an ordered pair. There it is in the table, and this is our unit rate as a ratio. So the answer is B. Make sure you have all the notes. Let's move on to the next page. As you look at this page, you see that we've been given 4 different signs, which is a little deceiving because actually these 4 signs represent T-tables. They're just presented in a little different way. Your X is your number of cucumbers and your Y is the cost. Let's read the question. Jocelyn was shopping at a farmer's market. She observed the price of cucumbers at several stands. Which sign shows a proportional relationship in the pricing of the cucumbers? So we need to run a test. We need to put Y over X and get the K rate for each of these. If it's a nice steady rate, then it's a proportional relationship. 250 divided by 5. Well, if you punch in 250 divided by 5, you get 50 cents a cucumber. But if you put in the next one, $4 divided by 10, you get 40 cents. Clearly, the rates we calculated are not steady and consistent. So therefore, this is not a proportional relationship. You're going to take each one of these tables and test Y over X and see which table has a consistent, steady rate. Complete that on your own. Pause the video, and when you're ready, turn the video back on and continue on. Now let's take a look at number 15. We'll correct any problems you've completed on your own at the end of this assignment. Maya uses blue and orange fabric to make identical wall decorations. The graph below shows the relationship between the amount of blue and orange fabric used. What is the constant of proportionality? The minute they ask for that, we know we're going to be looking for Y over X and calculate the K rate, or in other words, the constant of proportionality. Well, the minute you get a graph, you should create a table, a simple table, next to it. We're going to pull a few readable points off the line. For example, 0.7, 0.3 for your Y value. We're going to set up the ratio, and we get 3/10 over 7/10. But you realize that that's not given. So you can take and calculate the K rate. Do 3/10 divided by 7/10, and you get this decimal, ... Well, which one of these fractions over here do you think produces the same decimal? For example, 1/2 is equivalent to 0.5. That's not equivalent to the K rate we calculated. And 3/10 is 0.3. Well, that's not equivalent either. And in fact, if you do 2 divided by 5, you get 0.4. Well, guess what? Neither is that. If you take 3 divided by 7, you will get that equivalent K rate. clearly, it's C. But remember, when you get a graph, your immediate instinct should be to create a table and pull a few good readable points off the line. Let's move to the next page. You've seen this problem probably before about Ruby's Market selling smoked meats. But we're going to be scaling up in order to find the information we need. We see that the prices we've been given here in the table, that is the price per 1 pound. Y over X. Well, how much more does 1.5 pounds of beef cost than 1.25 pounds, for both, of turkey? Well, the beef is $4.25 per 1 pound. Write that ratio down. But we want to find out how much it is for 1.25 pounds. So you're going to multiply by 1.25 and scale up. For the turkey, which is $2.85 per 1 pound, you're going to scale up and figure it out for 1.25 pounds. How much? Again, you're going to scale up, and then when you find the price for each, you're going to have to subtract and find the difference. How much more the beef is than the turkey. Complete part 2 on your own. The entire packet should be finished, and we will check our answers at the end of class. This concludes the video for this review packet.